Hey, it's Allison from Computers.mom, here to show you 6 easy ways to spot email fraud and avoid being scammed. While the primary focus of this video is email, many of these techniques also apply to scam texts and phone calls. The cost of email, text, and phone fraud is billions of dollars every year, but you can help protect yourself if you know a few key things to look for. We're going to look specifically at phishing, which, as you may know, is a type of fraud where the sender pretends to be from a reputable company and tries to scare you or entice you into paying them or providing personal information like credit card numbers and passwords. Unfortunately, some of these schemes are remarkably clever, and because they go out to millions of people, they only have to work a tiny percentage of the time to earn big bucks for the bad guys. You do have some protection. When it comes to email, most email providers and apps try to screen out fraudulent email before it gets to you. When they detect a suspicious message, normally they'll keep it out of your inbox and send it to a separate folder called spam or junk. Gmail even puts a nice big warning message on the top like this. But this screening isn't perfect. There are 2 problems with it. The smaller problem is false positives. Once in a while, legitimate email gets incorrectly identified as spam or junk. That's easy to deal with. Just make sure to take a look at your spam or junk folder regularly, and if you find a message that doesn't belong there, mark it as not junk or not spam, and that'll push it to your normal inbox. The much bigger problem is that even the best fraud filters don't catch everything. Here's a real email that showed up in my inbox, and here are 6 ways to tell that this is a fake. First and most important, a sense of urgency through either fear or greed. This email says if you don't do something, you're going to be charged hundreds of dollars. It's designed to alarm you into reacting immediately without thinking it through. Imagine that a total stranger walked up to you on the street claiming to be from some big company and said these things. Would you believe them and do what they said? The best thing you can do is slow down. Do not do what they're asking. Take your time and investigate. For example, if we did a simple Google search like Geek Squad email, note that even as I type, their actual phone number appears in the search suggestions and it does not match the one in the email. If we run the search and then click on News to see the news search results, we immediately find several articles about this exact scam. In just a few seconds, you can find evidence that this is probably a fraud. The second thing to look for is a mismatched sender. This email claims to be from Geek Squad, but the sender's email address is weddingdressboutique1@gmail.com. That's a huge red flag. With rare exceptions, the sender's domain, that's the part after the @ should match the name of the company in some form, in this case, Geek Squad or Best Buy or whatever. The third thing to look for is weird formatting. Look at the phone number. This is not a normal way to write a phone number, and no major company would write it this way. Humans see this as a phone number, but the spam filters may be fooled by all the extra characters, so this email gets past them. The fourth thing to look for, missing or incorrect personalization. The scammers represent themselves as coming from major companies where you might already have an account, or government agencies, institutions that are familiar and trusted. But if this were a legitimate email from a company with which you already do business, they often include some kind of personal information like your name, a partial account number, an address, anything that shows that they already have your information. This email doesn't have that. And this is true for text messages and phone calls as well. Remember this text message from earlier in the video? This is a real text message I received. And who wouldn't like their bills paid and to have a free gift? But my name isn't Tracy. Ironically, as I was writing this, my phone rang with a robocall claiming to be from Amazon about a problem with an $1,100 iPhone order that was going to be charged to my credit card. The call even included an order number, but there was no personal identifying information. Obvious fake. The fifth thing to look for, bad grammar. Even if you weren't an English major like me, you probably know that sentences are supposed to begin with a capital letter. If you read carefully, there are tons of grammatical errors here, and there's often something a little bit off about the phrasing. The whole thing sounds like it was badly translated from another language. Big companies generally write better than this. And the last thing to look for is unexpected links. One of the classic types of phishing attacks is an email that appears to be from a person you know or a real company with a personal sounding message with a link for you to click on to verify some personal information, like this. Notice that the sender appears to be Dropbox. The email is personalized to me by name. The grammar seems okay, so it passes a bunch of our tests. But does that mean it's real? Not necessarily. Faking the sender address is not much harder than writing a fake return address on a paper envelope. And unfortunately, most people's names and email addresses are for sale on the dark web, available to scammers, so it's not so hard to personalize these. But if you were not expecting to receive a link like this, I didn't just set up a Dropbox account, then it's probably a fake. So the bottom line here is that if an email is prompting you to click on something or take an action and you weren't expecting it, it's always a good idea to pick up the phone or send a new email, not a reply, to the person it supposedly came from and confirm that they meant to send it. Here's a quick recap of 6 ways to spot fraudulent emails, all on one page for convenience. Number 1, urgency. The harder the push, based on fear or greed, the more you should slam on the brakes and do some checking of your own. 2, a mismatched sender email address. 3, weird formatting, particularly in things like phone numbers. 4, personalization that is absent or incorrect. They need to prove that they know who you are. 5, bad grammar or the tone just doesn't sound quite right. And 6, unexpected links. Requests to click on something, verify information that you had no reason to expect. So that's it. And we hope this helps you avoid some of these nasty scams. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave comments and questions below. Click like if you found this helpful, and be sure to subscribe for more Computers.mom videos.